Hello again, everybody, and we're now at part 4. This is 4, part 4 of this week's New Comics Bitches. So, we're going to continue with Marvel. The Punisher, number 11. So basically we have Detective Bolt finally coming clean, well, basically forced to come clean about his involvement with Frank Castle, and how he's been kind of feeding him information, things like that. Not something incredibly serious, not totally complicit in what the Punisher's doing, but certainly not doing anything to stop him either. But the reason for this being is that his hand was really forced, because Castle, basically he's, as Bolt is kind of running it down for the police officers that are there questioning him, including the deputy commissioner, being one of them watching the interrogation. Castle he's looking for Rachel Cole Alex, because she definitely made herself scarce after the finale of the Omega Effect, which is just a brilliant series, and every issue was top notch. And basically he comes to Bolt while he's on a date with Carly Cooper. So, of course, Carly Cooper being Peter Parker's ex-girlfriend. So it's definitely, we see Greg Rucka bringing the Punisher kind of more into the Marvel Universe. And because it's, obviously giving peripheral characters. And, of course, what causes all of this is that they are confronted with zombies, courtesy of the Black Talon, who can reanimate the dead. And note to self, if ever in zombie apocalypse, get Frank Castle on your side. Because if there's a guy who can score a headshot 10 out of 10 times, it's the Punisher. And what was really awesome about this issue is that it made me think of The Wire, which, of course, is the best show that HBO has ever produced. Maybe not, and probably will be the best show it ever will produce. But basically, how the end really made me feel like I was watching an episode of The Wire, because it has this kind of tie-in, not tie-in, but where it has basically the politics of policing, of the police force itself. Because Bolt, basically, they want his badge, at first, but the deputy commissioner basically is saying, since Bolt was seen at the scene and he was discharging his weapon, who's to say that it wasn't Bolt who did all of this? Because he's still, kind of considered a hero from what ultimately, he took credit for that the Punisher did in the first place. And so they're basically saying they're going to whitewash it. They're going to sweep it under the rug. Bolt's still a cop. He doesn't seem very happy about it. But that was, this was just like icing on this cake of near perfection. The only part that I thought was a drawback was, again, the art. The art in this issue was, everybody looked bruised. It just seemed weak. But that's due to Marco Cicchetto, who normally is the artist on this title and normally does a phantasmagoric job. He's earned a little bit of a break, because he did all 3 issues of the Omega Effect. So, and those were, that came in 3 successive weeks. So, like I said, he's earned himself a rest. But 4.5 out of 5. Very solid for the Punisher number 11. Greg Rucka just continuing his, kind of masterclass on storytelling. Ultimate X-Men number 11. This is after the kind of awesomeness that was the last 2 issues. we're kind of back to where we started from, where it's like I don't really feel that there's a whole lot of story going on here. There's a lot of art, because Paco Medina is a fantastic artist, and I love what he's doing here. But basically, what we have here is we have, strikers, Nimrods. They're attacking every city that has a mutant camp in it, whether they're concentration camps or resettlement camps, whatever they want to call them, safety camps, security camps, whatever. And this is almost literally, I feel like they stole this idea out of my brain, because I had an idea for an X-Men story that had this kind of idea in it. But they're also laying waste to everything that surrounds it too, which includes non-mutants. So it's basically Storm trying to Storm and the mutants at Camp Angel trying to escape the Nimrods, and we have this very kind of the president kind of delivering this kind of FDR-esque speech of how how the U.S. is essentially under attack by these androids, and we have Val Cooper at the White House basically saying nobody's fighting back because they know that they've already lost. So all hope is gone in this issue. Is basically what this issue seems to be telling me. That Nick Spencer and Medina just seem to be telling this tale of everything's fucked. We're all fucked. That's the only vibe that I really picked up from this. Very upsetting. There's no kind of moment of, well, here's a character that could turn things around. There's nothing like that. It's just, okay, basically, because we have the Nimrod, they're constructing a giant Sentinel. Whether or not this is going to be kind of like the ultimate version of the Master Mold, I don't know, but that's basically what they're doing at the end when it's revealed. And like I said, it looks great. It doesn't read very well, it's sad for me because I love Nick Spencer. He did a terrific job on Thief of Thieves this week, and he's a terrific writer, and I think that this is kind of selling him short. But as I believe I heard that Brian Wood of Northlanders and DMZ, which are a series that I have yet to read, but apparently he's very good, is going to be taking over this title soon. I'll be looking forward, honestly, to this changing hands, because I just don't think Nick Spencer is the right guy for this. I've given this comic plenty of opportunities, and I think this is kind of where it has to stop, because it just isn't. It's not there. This was a 3 out of 5. Like I said, it's still, Medina's art makes it above average, but not by a whole lot. So it's a barely 3 out of 5, kind of more of a 2.5 out of 5. And then we have Ultimate Comics Ultimates, number 10. And basically what we have here, as we saw in the last issue, we have the aftermath of Reed Richards' assault, the Children of Tomorrow's assault, the detonation of the Capitol and the surrounding areas. And there are some really... Now, Sam Humphries co-wrote this with Hickman. We've got Luke Ross on art as opposed to Asad Ribic. But this issue did a really, really good job of almost these... these kind of, out of time moments where it just shows these little snippets of the moments just before the detonation. People around the, Capitol, and like the Washington Mall and everything like that. And it was very effective, them kind of telling this kind of, this kind of pre-detonation tale. And then we see, of course, the aftermath. The death toll is in the thousands upon thousands. And so, again, everything seems shitty here, because we got this, Director Flum, which is a great name, because it just kind of illustrates just what a prick this guy is. Just the name Flum. It's so. And he's acting quite the prick, as basically he wants, more than anything, he wants Nick Fury's head on a platter. He wants to prove that he can be the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., and the only way that he can really do that is by ousting Nick Fury. And, you know, even though this is a presidential order and the winter protocols are in effect, S.H.I.E.L.D. is still, you know, Flum still, there's something more personal here going on, I believe. And so we've got, you know, this kind of transfer of power, because we have the last, the next member of the cabinet in succession, or succession, I should say, of power is the the Secretary of the Department of Power. So, or Secretary of Energy, excuse me. And so, you know, obviously it's gone way down, kind of almost like a Battlestar Galactica type of thing, you know. And, you know, and again, kind of like Ultimate X-Men, you know, all hope really seems lost, because, you know, Reed's power is just continuing to grow. Tony is in a bad way. His tumor has basically reappeared. He's having, you know, oral, auditory hallucinations. Like the little moment that he had about, you know, his obsessively compulsively checking WebMD. You know, he's talking to a younger version of himself. You know, we've got Thor, who's still essentially powerless, and they go to the Baxter Building to talk, you know, to basically have someone with the proper equipment look at them, because they know that they're still, you know, they're also kind of being hunted as well. Well, not kind of, they definitely know that they're being hunted. And we also have, you know, we have Nick, and we have Black Widow and Hawkeye and Falcon that are also, they're basically staring down the barrel of a gun, but fortunately for Fury, they've got somebody who, you know, the person that has been, you know, kind of sent to bring them in is, you know, somebody whose life was saved by Fury. So that goes, you know, some way towards his his credibility with, you know, with his kind of comrade in arms. So Fury kind of takes this leap off of the helicarrier, and, you know, while everybody's distracted watching him fall and kind of disappearing into nothing, the, you know, Widow and Hawkeye and Falcon escape. And so they kind of pop up back on the grid, and, you know, Flum but he really wants to take down the Ultimates. And so, again, the question here is who can save the world? Because we've got, you know, our heroes are on the run from their own government, which is now in complete and total chaos because of the massive, you know, deaths that just happened in Washington, D.C. And, you know, so, I mean, all the people that are supposed to be protecting us are busy kind of covering their own asses. And in the meantime, you know, still, you know, the Twin Cities of Heaven are in danger. The U.S. is in danger. The whole fucking world is in danger. And, you know, Asgard is in ruins. Who is going to step up and save us? And in the very last panel, we get a hint, we don't know who, but of what. What might kickstart the saving of our world. And while the kind of hopelessness that was in that, you know, the hopelessness that was in Ultimate X-Men is very much present here, until the very end, where there is something emerging that still says we have hope, because there's none of that in Ultimate X-Men. So that's where this issue is more successful. It's still a little bleak, still a little out of control. It's a very good, solid 4 out of 5. I don't know what I would have preferred really here. Of course, I missed Ribbick's art, but this was still a damn good issue. So, anyway, that's it for this one. for part 4, so stick around for Picks of the Week. We'll be right back.